All right, welcome everybody. My name's Alan Bauman with Sourcepass, and welcome to another one of our learning series webinars. Today's topic is integrating your workflow between Microsoft Outlook, Planner, and To Do. I love topics like this because, I feel like a lot of us work in our isolated worlds and we forget that 365 is this big integrated ecosystem. So learning how to integrate those pieces, I think, is always really super helpful. I am here today with our fabulous instructor, Jolynn Reen. If you've been on any of our prior webinars, you know Jolynn. Always happy to have Jolynn here. She gives great expertise, great content. So once again, happy to have Jolynn. So, for anybody that's new here, just to kind of give you sort of a lay of the land here, these learning series webinars, currently they're monthly. And the reason that we do these is simply to help all of you in our Sourcepass community get better at utilizing the tools that you probably already have. So, that's things like 365. And, it's open to anybody, any Sourcepass client, any employee at any Sourcepass client. What I would also tell you is that if you have a friend that maybe isn't a Sourcepass client, feel free to invite them. Your friends are our friends. If we can help improve somebody's work skills, we're happy to do that. So feel free to share the registration invites if you think that would help somebody. Speaking of registration for upcoming webinars, all of that's available at sourcepass.com. At the end of the session today, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the upcoming webinars. There's a few good ones in the pipeline here that you can actually register for now. And we also, separate from the learning series, we have a digital transformation series, just to let you know that exists. Registration for that is also available on the Sourcepass website. Content's a little bit different. It's really geared more towards using technology in new ways, or understanding new topics. So subjects like AI, for example, get talked about there. But again, open to anybody. Would love to have you there. Feel free to register at sourcepass.com. And then just a couple housekeeping items here before I kick it over to Jolynn. We love your questions. We've gotten a lot of them over the past, bunch of months that we've done these, and, keep them coming. The best way to get a question to us is to use the Q&A button. We'll either answer them during the session, or if we need to stay a little bit longer, we're happy to do that. I think we've answered, I don't think we've ever let a question go unanswered in the webinars that we've done. So we will definitely get to all of your questions. And then feedback, there'll be a feedback form that goes out to you via email in a day or two. Give us your thoughts. If you have ideas for future topics, we would absolutely love to hear those. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Jolynn. Jolynn, I love this topic, and I'm really
I do too.
Yeah, and I haven't, I don't know that if I've attended this webinar with you before, so I have my pencil ready, my low-tech pencil. I'm ready to take notes. So
pencil.
I don't want you hearing me type in the background. So.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I
Right,
get it. You're not going to open up your OneNote notebook?
Well, maybe I will. Okay, you've shamed me into it. I'm going to.
I actually do use that. I use a OneNote notebook to jot down notes on different things that I learned by watching other seminars as well. So kind of something that you might want to pick up on. But let's talk about to-dos and Planner and Outlook and and I liked what you said about 365. I don't think enough people really take advantage of what it is we have. And these are 3 apps that, yes, our whole Microsoft 365 integrates together, but these 3, along with Teams and SharePoint and a few others, are unbelievable the way that they integrate together. So whether you're in Outlook, you start out in the app like To Do or Planner or PowerPoint or SharePoint, or I was going to say PowerPoint, SharePoint or Teams, you're going to have access to whatever it is that you need to work on. And we want to always think about efficiencies and, how do we get things done during the day? Because we're always so busy doing things, but how do we know what we're supposed to do and where do we need to go to actually see what we're doing, what we need to do? So that's where the focus is going to be on these great applications we have. So I'm actually going to be starting in my Microsoft account online. This is going to be one of other ways to do things, because of course this is Microsoft. So anytime you're using a Microsoft app or whatever, you're going to have more than one way to do things. So when you come into your Microsoft account, you can open up Microsoft To Do as its own app. It can be also utilized directly through Outlook. So if you're using the desktop version of Outlook, you're using the online version of Outlook, starting with To Do is easy to get to because it's going to be very conveniently located for you to access. It's even in Microsoft Teams, which I'll get to in a little bit. But if I want to go to the To-Do app and I'm already online, I can do so just by going to my apps launcher at the top left. I can simply click on the To-Do icon, which has that universal blue check mark, so it's easy to see it. So once you click on To-Do, it's going to open up the app, which is the same thing that you would get if you were in the online version of Outlook and you click To-Do. It's going to give you exactly the same thing. So even if I'm in Outlook, so just so for comparison purposes, if I'm in Outlook, and let me get my Outlook over here on the screen, I meant to slide it over here before session started, but so when I'm in Outlook on the left-hand side, and this is the desktop version of Outlook, you can see on the left-hand side, I can simply click the blue check mark and I'm going to be in the To-Do app, just like if I did it online. So same difference. You're going to see the same things show up in another place here in a minute. But what exactly is To-Dos? So To-Dos is your personal task list. So if you have things that you need to do, instead of writing them on paper, Alan, we're going to actually put them in Microsoft To Do. Now, one of the reasons you're going to want to do that is because you're going to know exactly where it is. I used to be the person that had scratch pieces of paper. I had sticky notes. I've got a whole nother class to talk about all of that. But just so you're aware, To Do can follow you wherever you go, meaning it's available in your smartphone. It's available on a tablet, it's available on a laptop, desktop, whatever type of device it is that you're using, you have access to To-Do. And it syncs with your Microsoft account, so everything is integrated in uh, one place, which is why we want to use 365. So what you're going to see when you come in is on the left-hand side, you get your typical navigation pane. I'll go through a little bit of this and then talk a little bit more about some of these when we get to other areas. But right now I happen to be on the category on the left called tasks. This is where my personal task list is located at. So I have to get the communication plan finished, make the report bigger. I have to report on AP. I've got all these different tasks that I need to do. So on the right-hand side, it's showing me a list of my personal tasks. If I need to add a new task, all I do is click at the top of the right-hand side, the top of that list, and click Add a Task. Very similar to how you would do it in any other app. So if I have something new that I need to work on, so I have some things coming up that I need to be creating some loop components. So I'm going to put in loop components and I can just press enter without adding any other detail to it. But if you have detail, like you want to put in a due date, you want to get a reminder or anything else, you can always come back and modify that task. As a matter of fact, right now, if I click on loop components, you're going to see on the right-hand side is the menu where I can fill out additional details. Starting at the top of that right-hand side, it says add step. So what I like about this is, yes, I need to do this loop component, but I have to do this, I have to do this, and I have to do this as part of completing that loop component. So I need to first, I'm going to click add step, and I'm going to say that I need to look over details from scope. I'm going to press enter and it can add another list, or I should say a step. So these steps are the things that I need to do to complete that loop component. Look at questions. Whatever the case would be, I keep adding them in as steps. Also, we have this feature here called Add to My Day. This is a very big part of a lot of Microsoft features these days that are getting us to have more focus time. So I want to focus on what I need to work on today. I don't care that I have 100 tasks that I need to work on. I need to know, what am I going to do today? So I can go to my task lists, and there's an S on the end of that list because there's more than just this to do that we'll get to in a second. But I can add whatever task that I want to focus on today to my category called My Day. So I just clicked on My Day. This task is now added to it so that I know I'm going to work on it today. So I'll come back and talk more about that in a minute. Do I want a reminder? Absolutely. I can't remember what I'm going to do, so I always need to have a reminder to pop up and say, hey, Jolynn, don't forget, you got to work on this. So I'm going to say that I want to pick a date and time, or of course you can say tomorrow, that kind of a thing, but I'm going to say I want to be reminded tomorrow, Thursday, and I want to be reminded at 3 o'clock. I'm going to click save. It automatically will save that reminder for tomorrow. When is this due by? I'm going to say it's due next week. Do I want it to be a repeating task that I need to do? I can pick a category for it, which is all your categories. I have one called my cat for whatever reason from a previous session, but I could categorize it with my Outlook categories so that if you wanted to filter or sort by those, you can. If you wanted to add a file or you want to add in notes based on details to this, add in whatever it is that you need. Another option is at the top right of this. So when you're in this right-hand side of the details pane, at the top right, you have the star. You might have seen this in other applications. If you click the star, it adds it as an important task, just so you're aware of what that does. So what I'm looking at right now in the middle of the window is my list of tasks. I can click on any of them to get that detail over on the right-hand side, but I have different views going across the top. I'm currently in what is called grid view, where I could technically modify multiple things at once. I also have list view. List view is what you would probably be using by default. I won't get into the sorting and the grouping capabilities at the top right, but just so you're aware, you do have those. So this is really my list of the tasks that I personally need to work on. But if you're a flagger, if you're an email flagger, so you're in your inbox, you got a new message that came in, and you want to make sure that you do something with it tomorrow at 3 o'clock, you could flag the message and mark it for 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, or whatever your case would be. You can also access those flagged messages because when you flag them, you're marking it as a to-do, it shows up here. So you can see I have some that I haven't completed because I haven't actually gone back and marked them as completed, but I can see them here and I can interactively work with them as well. I know that they're overdue because I have in red saying overdue August 7th, July 12th. If I go to any of these and click on it, I get my choices on the right-hand side for the details for that flagged message. So I even have details for flags, which is pretty cool. Anyway, if I wanted to complete this without having to go back to the actual email itself and mark the flag as being completed, I can do so here. Anytime you see the little circle in front of the item, you can click it and it's going to cross it off your list. So basically what it just did was removed it from my list because it's no longer a flagged email. It's completed, so I don't need to see it. I like the fact that it cleans up our list as we do things. As a matter of fact, back here in tasks, I forgot to point this out, but when I'm looking at my list, down at the bottom is my completed tasks. So if I mark something as being done, it removes it from my active list and puts it down here in the completed list where I can still get back to it. I can delete them out of there when I'm done with them, that kind of a thing. But otherwise, if I need to keep them for a while, I don't have to get rid of them, but I don't need to have them in front of me all the time. So we have some great options there. But kind of moving my way back to the left-hand side here, when I mentioned the word important, if I click important, these are the tasks that I have actually marked as being important. When I decide which tasks I'm going to work on today, a lot of times this is going to help me determine which tasks to do today. Because if they're important, I probably want to get them done. So I can see that I have this electrical task that is actually overdue from July 1st. If that's something that I should be working on today, I could select this task. It's going to allow me to go to my right-hand side and click add to my day. So I can work on it today so I can get it crossed off my list because it is overdue. But if I've completed something, I can go ahead and click to say that's been done, and it automatically removes it from this important category. Because even though it was marked as important, if it's not active, it's no longer going to show up. So it filters it away from this list, which is great. But you may not have noticed this, but my loop components was part of the task, which is part of my to-do. But this create a workflow for IT, that's part of this help desk task, which is technically coming from Microsoft Planner, which is part of Microsoft Teams. So I'm using it directly through Teams. So this didn't even get created here because it's part of a shared plan. But I have access to this directly here in To Do because it's something I personally need to do. So this is my personal things that I need to do, whether it's my own task list or it's coming from Microsoft Planner. So there's that integration. Also, on the left-hand side, if I go to the category called planned, these are tasks that are actually, and you can see I've got different groups here. So these are ones from earlier. Those are overdue. Here's my one for tomorrow. Here's one I got to paint a boat on Friday. Don't know where that came from, but just so you could see, these are the things I'm planning on working on starting Friday through August 20th. So it's got these little groups that we can collapse and expand to get to our different tasks. But notice when I look at the name of it, underneath it, it's going to show me where it's actually coming from. Planned means it has dates related to it. And this underneath project brief, AP tasks, new office building, that is the name of the planner they're coming from. You'll see that also when I go to planner here in a minute. So as I have things listed here, these might not be things that are directly my personal tasks, but they're things I am responsible because I was assigned to them. And as a matter of fact, anything that's date related, of course, is going to show up here. So my loop components had dates related to them, so that's here. But the earlier, that's things that are overdue that I've been hanging on to. So just so you can see, this is an option for a filtered list from the left. But if I want to just see tasks that I've been assigned to, I have this category assigned to me. I can see there's a number 16, which tells me there's 16 tasks that I've been assigned to. Where are these coming from? Well, it depends. Is it a task that I created right here in my personal task list, like run this report, or did it come from a planner within SharePoint or Teams, or just from Planner itself? Because Planner is an app all by itself. So you can see blood drive was coming from tasks, electrical is coming from new office building. I can click on any of these and see the details on the right. But if it's coming from a plan, whether it's in Teams or SharePoint, on the right-hand side, I will have a link to get back to the original location of where the entire plan is located at. So this is just a task that I'm personally assigned to. I'm seeing it here in my to-dos because it's mine. It's my personal things that I'm responsible for. So I love the way it filters all of this. But just to kind of finish out first, what all to-do offers for you. If you look at the bottom of my left-hand side, my navigation pane, I have different groups that include lists. I have this HR insurance because I'm working with the HR department to come up with some different benefits and some life insurance things that we can work on. We also have public classes. I have some marketing things. I have some remodeling of the front office, which wasn't spelled correctly, but that's okay. Down at the bottom, you can create a new list. A list is like you going to your piece of paper, Alan, and writing down, I need to do this, and then these are all the things that are included in that list. These lists can all be related to a group. whether it's going to be a group based on departments or based on projects you're working on, whatever the case would be. You can organize things based on lists and based on groups. So just so you can see, if I click HR benefits, this is going to show me my list of tasks related to HR benefits. If I click life insurance, here's those tasks, professional development, billboards, etc. Each of these have multiple tasks related to them. It's just an easy way for you to organize the details. But enough about to do for right at this moment. I'm going to transition over to Microsoft Planner. And one thing that I need to mention before I go to Planner is I'm going to be starting in the online version of Planner, but I'm not going to stay there very long because it's going to be updated within the next few months. So I'm going to go back to my Microsoft account. I'm going to go to my apps launcher and I'm going to actually open Planner. Planner is a Microsoft 365 app that integrates with several other, all your apps technically. And what this does is it opens a list of every plan you are a part of. So this is your personal list, dashboard of all of the plans you are a part of. So Planner is where we go to create a plan that we want to share with other people. It isn't your own personal task list, technically. A plan is a shared task list. So what I'm seeing is I first am seeing all of my pinned plans, the things that I want to have quick, easy access to. Down at the bottom, I have my recent plans, and notice the names. So this AP task, underneath it, that's the name of the plan, but underneath it, it says accounting department, accounts payable. That's coming from the team in Microsoft Teams called accounting department in the channel called accounts payable. But this one that's called new employee task list, this is coming from Clinic. That's actually a SharePoint site. So plans can be stored here and only, well, not only, but accessed here, or a plan can be built and used within Microsoft Teams or Planner, technically. We can access them and use them from other places. So we have an integration with a lot of different things. Now, of course, I'll get to how all of these integrate with Outlook as well, beyond what I talked about with the integration with to-dos with Outlook already, whether you're online or in the desktop version. So basically, the left-hand side, I'm on the category called Hub. I could go to Assign to Me. Assigned to me is going to show me the tasks that I am actually assigned to work on, coming from all of my different tasks, or I should say all of my different planners. Up at the top, I have a grid view, a board view, I have a charts view, and I have a schedule view. The schedule view is actually pretty nice because the schedule view is going to show you every task you need to be working on, and it's going to have a banner going across the days that it's going to take you to work on that plan, on that task, I should say, within that plan. So I like the calendar view. But I'm going to go back to board view. This is our default view when we are in a plan. So this is my not started list. This is my bucket called in progress. So these are my tasks that I've marked as being in progress, or these are my tasks that I've already completed. So by default, it's organizing them into these three buckets. Columns are buckets. But if I wanted to go to a totally different plan, even if it's in SharePoint or Teams or just a normal plan coming from here, I have access to it by just clicking on it from the left-hand side. So if I go into my social media tasks, that's actually coming from my marketing department team within Microsoft Teams, and I have access to everything related to it. Or if I click on tasks, this is my clinic SharePoint site, my general channel of my team, which because my clinic is a SharePoint team site. So this is going to show me all the tasks related to that. So here in Planner, I can access any plan and I can access all of the tasks that I am responsible for, or I can see every task that everybody is working on. So I can limit it to my tasks assigned to me, or I can see every task regardless of who is assigned to it. But how do these plans get created? We can create a new plan in SharePoint or Teams, and depending on the SharePoint site, you will get a shared plan automatically if it's a team SharePoint site. But I could come here and click New Plan also. It's going to show me different templates that I could actually use to get started. So if I'm going to do a simple plan, a project management plan, I'm going to do employee onboarding, I can click on any of these and I will see the details it will give me if I decide to use this. So on this right-hand side, it's going to give me these different columns, which are called buckets, to organize the tasks. And then I can come in and add things, change things, assign them, put due dates, put start dates, that kind of thing. I can add details to these tasks. But I'm not really going to create a new one right here. I'll create a new one when I'm in a different place. So I'm going to actually, because on the right-hand side, I would just give it a name, that kind of a thing. I'm just going to go ahead and close that for right now and talk about an existing task list and how do the tasks actually get here. So we can go to add a task. And that is where we can enter in the name of the task. We can add it to add a due date to it, and we could technically assign it to people that are a part of the group that the plan belongs to. I'll explain that a little bit better here in a minute, but when it comes to working on a plan, it's something that you're going to be sharing with multiple people. Therefore, you're going to be delegating the tasks. So we're going to be assigning people to those tasks for them to be responsible for working on them and completing them. So just so you could see, I could go to any task list. Doesn't matter the task list as I'm clicking on different ones from the left-hand side. And if I need to add a new task, I can simply click Add New Task, and then I can put in my details. Or let me kind of backtrack on this a little bit. As I mentioned, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this version of Planner because Planner has been updated and it's not available in the app just yet. It's only available, the update is only available in Teams. So I want to go to Teams and show you the rest of how to use this app because that's the one I want you to get comfortable with because this version is going to go away. So it has the same tasks and everything. You'll see very similar, but better because it's integrated directly with to-dos. So I'm going to just minimize that window and I'm going to be here in Teams, or I'm going to go to Teams, I should say. And from Microsoft Teams, what I want to do is go to my planner to show you how Planner looks here in Microsoft Teams. So how I got to Planner, and let me just start in a calendar as an example. So if you're in Microsoft Teams, you're sitting at your calendar right now, but you need to go to Planner. Personally, for me, I have an icon on my left-hand side for Planner because I'm in it so much. I never go to the internet to use it. I use Planner directly here through Teams. So that integration that we talk about, not only integrating with Outlook, to-dos is part of this, Outlook is a part of this, workflows are a part of this. Everything is directly connected together. So if I go to my View More Apps on the left-hand side, I can click Planner. It's got a different icon. The old one was green. I'm going to click on this icon and it's going to automatically open up the new planner. This is the wave of the future. This is going to be what the desktop one, the app I just showed you, that's going to look like this here shortly. Microsoft has said by the end of the year, everybody will have it. But right now, like I said, it's only in Teams. But on the left-hand side, I see my planner icon. If I want to keep it there, I'm going to right-click on it and pin it because I want to be able to go back to it all the time, so I keep it there. So what you're going to see when I come in is I have the same details as far as I can go back to any of my plans. So these are still my same plans on the left-hand side that I was showing you earlier, but there's some changes. When you look at the top left of this navigation pane, I have my day. That was coming from To Do. It's now built in to Planner as well. So which tasks do you want to have added to your day? So what this allows you to see is, oh, there's my loop component. I added that from to-dos. But any of my tasks that I have in Planner or To Do can be added to my day, and we can access it directly here in Planner. To be honest, I don't go to Do as much. I'm in Planner all the time because Planner gives me access to everything in To Do plus Planner. So back to the left-hand side for a minute, if I click my tasks, that's going to filter my list just like in To Do to show me the tasks that I am responsible for. Up at the top, I can see all tasks. So this is a list of every task, doesn't matter where it's coming from. In this column called Plan, if it says private tasks, that means it's coming from To Do. If it has a name like flagged emails, it's coming from the flagged emails. If it says tasks, that's part of a team or a shared plan somewhere, because I can have multiples called team or called tasks, which is probably not the best name to give it because it's generic, but new office building, I can go into my LinkedIn task list, etc. As you can see, I have quite a few tasks lists. But up at the top, if I click private tasks, that's going to limit my list to the To Do tasks. So this filters Microsoft To Do to show me all of the tasks related to myself. Nobody else tasks, just the ones that I personally had that aren't coming from Planner, they're coming from To Dos. So as you can see, there's loop components again. And if I click assign to me, just like what I showed you in To Do, I get exactly the same thing. It's going to be my list of tasks that have been assigned to me, no matter which plan it's coming from. If I want to see flagged emails, I have that capability as well. So what Microsoft has done is they have combined To Do and Planner together, because one place to go to access everything, which is more efficient. It's better for us. So I love this. That's why I don't go to the desktop right now until they get the update done. I strictly use Planner and To-Dos here because I want the integration. On the left-hand side, I can click My Plans. This is going to show me a list of every plan I am a part of. So these are going to be my shared plans that came from other places, whether it's SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, etc. This is going to show me that list of those plans. So if I wanted to open any of these and work on any tasks, all I have to do is click on the name of it. It's going to open that plan. So you can see I opened this one that is called AP Tasks. Where is that coming from? It's coming from Teams. If I go back on the left-hand side, click Teams, I can go straight to the team called Accounting, and I can go to my channel called Accounts Payable, and here is my AP task list. I can access it from multiple places. I don't have to go directly to the team. Even though it was created, the plan was actually created in this channel of this team, I still have access to it directly through To-Dos, the online version of Planner here through Teams. We can access all of that, especially the tasks that you are personally assigned to. So how this is organized, just so everybody knows, I'm in a column called To Do. I have a column called Clear the Ground Phase 1. These columns are called buckets. Buckets are how we organize the tasks. So everything, if you're working on a project and you're doing it based on phases or life cycles, you can have each bucket be a different name, and every task that is related to that category, that bucket, they go in that bucket. So if I need to add a new task, but I don't know which bucket it's going to go to, I click new task or add task. So if I add a task in, and it's going to be, I was going to put in, so hollow out the report for more detail. Oops, sorry. And then if I click set due date, I can choose when this is going to be due by. If I want to assign this to somebody, I click assign. It's only going to show me the people that are a part of this team to be able to assign it to them. I can't assign it to somebody that's not a part of this team because the planner is a part of the team. So I'm going to choose myself just so that you know how that all flows together. And I'm going to click add tasks. So I have this task, hollow out the report. Don't know where that came from in my head, but anyway, I'm going to click on the name of the task and I get all the details. So it opens in a window instead of a pane on the right-hand side. I could choose a label to add it to. Kind of like a category. I could choose a bucket for it to go into. Maybe it's going to be a part of phase 1. I could choose my progress, my priority. I can put in a start date. I need to start it on Friday because it's due on the 19th. Is it going to be a reoccurrence? Do I want to add notes to it? And like your to-do, we get a checklist. So if I need to do this, this, and this to complete this task, I'm going to put in a checklist. So I need to look over old report. I need to update the data, et cetera, et cetera. I just keep adding in the checklist of things that I need to do to complete this entire task. When I'm done, I just close this window. I'm going to scroll back up to the top, close that window, and all of the details are added in, and it moved it automatically to the phase 1. By the way, you can drag and drop your tasks from one bucket to another, and you can add as many buckets as you need to organize your tasks. You will see that this task is overdue. It shows up very brightly in red, and it says the date of when it was supposed to be due by. And I can see I'm assigned, and so is this project person. This one has a high priority. I can see these are the checklist of things I need to do. Once I complete something, I check it, it removes it from this view, but not from the task itself. It's still going to be a part of the task, but it just removes it from my current view. Speaking of views, if you go to the top, you have a grid view, board view, schedule view, and charts view. But all of this is integrated to Outlook, whether it's your to-dos or it's Planner. So let me jump back to Outlook here for a second. And by the way, because I'm assigned to that task, I can access it directly through To Do. But I'm going to jump back to my emails because when you are assigned to a task, you're going to get notified that you were actually assigned to it. So you're going to get an email letting you know that you were assigned to the task. Mine might be a little slow. That's okay. I'll come back to that. But also what's going to happen is you're going to get an update via email letting you know when you have tasks coming up that are due. So I'm on an email on the behalf of Microsoft. It sent this ground clearance. This is an upcoming task that I have. It was due back in July. I saved this email just to show you. I could open it directly in Planner and Teams, or I could go to Planner on the web directly from this email. So you will receive notifications via Outlook of anything that you need to be working on. It will even let you know when you have late tasks. I'm kind of chuckling when I say that because I just got a notice this morning of tasks that I need to get done today. And so I kind of snooze that for a little bit later. But just so you know, I can see these are the tasks that are overdue. So as soon as you don't mark them as complete, you'll get an email letting you know, here's the update of all the tasks that are overdue. I love this integration that we have with email notifications because we still need that. Am I going to be able to know what's overdue when I get into Planner or I get into my to-dos? Absolutely. All of that is integrated together. But the integration that we have here with Outlook does go way beyond these notifications. There's a lot of other things that are a little bit more advanced for today that we're not going to worry so much about. But when it comes to working with to-dos or Planner, they are directly connected into Outlook. We can access to-do on the left-hand side when we are in Outlook, whether I'm in the online version or the desktop version, and I have access to anything that is assigned to me coming from a plan or tasks that I'm organizing and working on for myself. So huge integration to Outlook. And if you're assigned to a task, somebody assigns a task directly to you, you'll get an email notification. You'll be updated automatically with anything that is coming up that's due or anything that is overdue. You'll always be notified. So you won't miss out on anything. But I live and breathe in Planner. I'm not always in my to-dos right here, but I love the email notification. I can't live without that. But what I typically do is go to Microsoft Teams because that's where I spend a majority of my day, because I'm doing meetings from there. I'm working with team members on Teams themselves. I'm making calls, I'm chatting. So I'm in Teams all day long. So I personally go to my planner every single morning. I look at my calendar. I know what's on my calendar. I go to Planner to see what do I have going on. So remember when I mentioned today, which is available in To-Do and now available in the new Planner? It refreshes every day because every day is a new day. So anything that I added today to my day is going to be gone tomorrow. Because I was supposed to work on it today, it's not going to be there tomorrow. So you start from a fresh list. So a couple of things that I personally do is I go into my tasks and I can determine from my tasks, which task should I be working on today. I can sort or filter by any one of these columns. And you can see at the top, there's a filter drop down as well. But you could go to plan. You could sort it. I could go to due date, and maybe I want to sort it by ascending or descending, whatever sort order you want. Of course, they're showing up in red if they're overdue, and those are the ones you probably want to focus on the most, or you can focus on other columns that you can be adding in as well. But I usually look at the due date. So when is it, or I could add a column, by the way, and it could be a column that would be available for the start date too. But it kind of depends on what exactly it is you're looking for. Is it based on all my tasks? Is it just based on the ones that are assigned to me? You can be sorting and filtering based on any of these to figure out what do you need to work on today. So if I see I have this overdue task, I could go to this task. And by the way, I'm just going to show you a couple of icons. It's a little bit different here in the new planner. Oops, I didn't mean to double click. But this circle with the eye is one way to open the details. So if you click on that, it will automatically open a window of the details of that task, whatever the task is and wherever it's coming from. So I can change information. I can see I've got an attached file to it. If I need to update the notes or anything like that, all of that can be done right here. I don't have to go back to its original location to work on it. Just so you can see, we have a little bit different of a menu here in this new planner. If I go to the ... or do a right click, you'll get a pop-up menu of the choices where you can quickly and easily access my day or removing it from my day, because if I already added it to my day, I could remove it. Otherwise, I can open the details, I could copy the task, I could delete the task, lots of different choices, or mark it as complete, but I would do that right from the main window. So just so you can see, you've got a menu of choices directly available, just like we do in other applications. So things working here is just like working in someplace else. We're getting more of that integration of everything looking and acting the same, which is so much easier on us as users. So this is kind of how I usually start in my all category, because I need to sort by due date usually. So what do I have coming up? Do I ascending, descending? I usually do ascending. So anything that is overdue or the things that I have coming up that are due, I can automatically access those. And usually I want to add them right away to my day, so I know what I'm going to be focusing on for today. Yes, I could still access everything else, but I have this as well. So all of this is great. This is easy to use. The updated planner is fantastic, but there's something else I want to show you. This to me is one of my favorite things because I'm a Microsoft Project user. And I was using Project Online, and it was a little bit cumbersome to be using Project Online and having Planner and having to do. They're all integrated now. So if you have a license for Microsoft Project for the web, you have access to doing what is referred to as a premium plan here in Planner in Teams. The desktop version of Planner will have access to this premium version when it gets updated. So here in Teams for right now, if I go back to my Planner app on the left-hand side, if I were in a different place, I could come in to my plans and see every plan that I have access to. And some of these are actually using the premium version. But what if I wanted a brand new plan? Earlier, I had mentioned creating a new plan. I could go to the top right, click New Plan. But because I have the premium license, I have a Project for the Web license, I could actually look at templates that are a part of the premium. I can create a premium plan. Now I'm going to close. I clicked on the icon here. I'm going to go back to new plan because some of these are actually premium templates that I'm seeing, and they're going to be adding more templates to this, just so you know. So some of these are similar to what you've already seen, but if I click on something like commercial construction or software development or sprint planning, I'm going to do commercial construction just to show you. This shows me a different look because basically what this can be is this is a premium template. Premium means it's going to allow us to have project management tools built in where we can have Gantt charts. There's technically a timeline view. We can be creating dependencies. We have different task types. It has a lot of the Microsoft Project capabilities, but it's Microsoft Planner. So it's the two of them combined together, which of course is integrated to your to-dos and Outlook. That full 365 integration, even with workflows, which we don't get in the desktop version of Microsoft Project. But anyway, just so you could see, if I wanted to use this template, I would click Use Template, I would give it a name, I could connect it to a group, etc. But I already have one created, so I'll go into an existing one. I'm going to go into this one called Residential Construction. Not that I use this just for construction type projects. I use this for every type of project I work on. Even if it's going to be a new process for submitting invoicing, whatever your project is, this is a great tool to use. And like I said, it's integrated to all these others, and I'm doing it right through Planner. So what you're seeing is a little bit different than your typical plan. I'm in grid view right now, but let me take you to board view. So different views going across the top. This is just like we saw. We can have these different buckets. I have not started coming up in progress or done. So if I go into and let's say I want to add a new task. If I go into add a new task in, I'm going to type in whatever the task is, and maybe it's going to be related to lighting. And I'm going to put in the finish date is going to be the 30th, and I'm going to assign this to my student 1. I'm going to click add task. I can keep adding in more tasks as needed. I can always go back to that task and add more detail to it by clicking on it, but this is a lot more detail than you had before. When I come back into this task, I can click add a note. I can add in details. I have the label, but what's going to be different, oops, let me click off that, sorry, is I have a start date and I have a finish date. So if I'm going to start this task, and by the way, there's calendars and different things in the background that I won't get into all that detail, but we can actually be creating custom calendars to go along with this to help manage our resources and our holidays and different things like that. But I'm going to say that, oops, it's in September. Let me just physically change that to 24. Oops, so you're going to not let me type in there. I'm going to say that I'm going to start this. Oops, sorry, it's only October or August. I'm going to say I'm going to start this on the 15th, and it's going to be due on the 30th. Why is that duration changing on me? But you could see that I have a duration, and I'm going to say that it's 20 days. It's going to do days by default. It'll automatically do the calculating for me. So when I put in the start date, I put in my duration of 20 days, just like in project, it will automatically update my finish date. I can do percent completes. I can add it to a specific bucket. I can prioritize it. I can even do sprints with it. I can do my typical checklist like I had from Planner. I can even keep track of the effort. So if I want to know how many typical hours this task is taking, on the right-hand side, I can add a dependency. So I can say that this task is dependent on a different task. So kind of that relationship that we create, the start to start, the finish to start, we can create those dependencies by using a premium plan through Microsoft Planner. But once again, it is an extra license. But if I choose, this is going to be related to perform final walkthrough, whatever the case would be, I could automatically attach that. I could also attach files, speaking of attaching. I could connect it to goals that our organization is working on. I won't get into all that detail today, but just so you could see, you have all these options that we don't have with a regular plan. I'm just going to close that. It saves all the changes that I had done. You have some extra views at the top. You have a timeline view, which is your Gantt chart view. So you can see the related tasks. It's your typical WBS hierarchy where we have our work breakdown structure. So anything that's under this category, general conditions, here's the tasks, here's my site work tasks, here's my foundation tasks. So I can have tasks become subtasks of another task. We have multiple levels that we can do. So we can actually then use our Gantt chart view, this timeline view, to see all the tasks that we are working on. So it's going to show you the relationships of all the tasks. I love this. This to me has saved me so much time and energy to be able to say, I can't start this task until this task is done. All of that integration is fantastic that we have. So anyway, just to give you a little bit more, I can actually filter by people. So who's ever working on this plan together, we have resource columns. So here's all the tasks for Jolynn, student 1, whoever else is working on things. We have different views. We can go into goals, we can go into assignments. We have charts that we can use as a dashboard look of all of our tasks going on. So the whole entire project can be looked at based on these different charts as well. I could spend all day talking about the integration with Outlook, to-dos, Planner, and now the premium version, the premium options that we have available with Planner. But I don't want to overwhelm you with too much. I just wanted to give you some general overviews. But I got to tell you, Alan, I can't live without these. This is my life. At the beginning of my day, throughout my day, at the end of my day, I make sure I had things completed or updated. This is how I work. Alan, have you been using any of these tools yet? Be honest.
I'm not. So I'm being honest here. But this is perfect for me because I'm like a checklist guy. I come
Me
from a
too.
long line of checklist people. My father was the one I learned from, and
Yes.
it this really maps very well to how I work. So I will definitely be diving into that
Yes.
very soon. So I know we're cruising into the end of our time here. I don't
Yes.
see any questions out there. If anybody has any last questions, feel free to get them in there. It's a super helpful session, Jolene. I
Oh my gosh, I tell you,
learned a ton as always.
I
Um,
love it.
oh, wait a minute. Maybe we do have a question. Gonna- Kat has some. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. We do have questions. I'm just
Okay.
looking at this wrong. All right. All right. First question. Can you have a planner for just two users, not
Mhm.
group related?
Yes. So you don't have to have it be connected to a group. So when you create a plan, you might want to go straight to the app to create it, because if it's not going to be part of a team or a SharePoint site, just go directly to the app. And I would personally do it myself through Microsoft Teams, because when you're in the planner app here, you get the new one. So you could just go straight to the top. Oops, sorry, let me get back into my plans. When I'm in my plans at the top right, when you go to the new plan, you can choose. I just want to start with a simple plan. I want a basic plan. You can start from scratch. You do not, it's optional to add it to a group. It can just be you and whoever. So if I say I want this to be reports, I'm going to click create without creating a group, because what I want to show you is, what if I add a task in and I assign it to somebody? So I'll just put in a name, I'll click assign. If I'm the only person, because I just created it, but I want it with one other person, I'm going to assign this to that person, and it's going to give me this message. Plan has not been shared yet, because I haven't given anybody access to it, and I haven't added anybody because it wasn't part of a group. And it's going to say, before you can assign a task to someone, the plan needs to be shared with a group. You can create a new group or share it with an existing group. So I wanted you to see this. So I don't have to assign it to a group to begin with, but it does automatically create this group if you assign it to other people. But it's going to be just you and that other person. So I'm going to add that person. It asks me if I want to create a group or use an existing group. I'm just going to create a group. So there it was automatically asking for that group that I wanted to assign it to, just so you could see what you're going to get by default. Okay.
All right, it looks like
So I
the
hope that
floodgates
helped.
have opened here for
Good.
questions, Jolene. So buckle up. There's a few more. So
Mhm.
how do we delete versus have it completed with a line through it?
Yes. So when you have a task, it doesn't matter what task it is, you complete it by checking it. So you're going to check the task as being completed. So if I'm in all of my tasks, anywhere that you're at, you're seeing all these circles in front of it. We're basically crossing it off the list. So that's going to not be a part of my current list of tasks that I need to be working on. When you are in a task, or any task that you're looking at, if you don't want to keep that task, you can actually delete it. So I can complete it from here, or I can delete it. So we don't click that circle to select it. That's the thing I was doing. And I'm like, oh no, I just marked it as completed. I can still get back to my completed tasks, whether I'm in to-dos or I'm in directly in Planner. I can do it either way, but I can delete a task instead. Okay.
All right. Next one is the strike/progress or mark as complete, etc., accessible by the person assigned when there are multiple people on the task.
That's a little bit of an issue, because in this non-premium, if one person marks it as being completed, it's completed for everybody. It's not well, technically they've changed that. In the updated version, yes, it is different for each person. So the updated version, yes, each person can mark it as being completed off their own list, but the old one, no, you could not. It updated it for the task itself. So I think that's what they were asking.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, next one. When you selected a flagged email in Planner, it
Yes.
takes you to the 365 online. Is there a way that it just routes you to the app on the computer?
I have not tried that, but that might be an admin thing because that's what it does by default. And I've not seen a setting right here in the app to be able to change that. Like we can change if I want my app to open in online versus desktop. I don't know if you can change it for it opening in the online versus desktop. So that I'm not 100% sure. I haven't
All right, we
tried that.
got a few more rolling in here, Jolynn.
Good.
Let's see here. How do you get notifications that an assigned task has been completed? I assign a lot of tasks, but I don't get
Mhm.
notified when they're completed. I have to keep checking.
Correct. You would want to create a workflow. There's actually a Power Automate feature that is built in. There's a template for it in Power Automate that you can use to get a notification. So as soon as a task is marked as complete, and you could even say if it's this person, or if the task was urgent or important, there's a lot of detail that you can actually give the workflow to say only notify me if these things, because we put conditions in there. It's kind of like creating an Outlook rule, but it's more advanced than that. It's more like VBA code or other code. So it's a little bit more advanced than that, but some of the templates in Power Automate are a little bit easier to use, and that's one of them that is there. So you basically choose the plan, choose what your actions are, and you can get an email notification.
All right,
So
next
that'd be
up.
a workflow.
Can you schedule a task/flagged email onto your calendar in Outlook?
So if I want some, well, I wouldn't recommend you do that. And the reason that I don't recommend you do that is because they're two separate apps. They're really two separate things. Your calendar is where you're going to do appointments, events, meetings. It has nothing to do with your task list. So meetings and things like that are not tasks. So I personally wouldn't recommend doing that, and they're set up as separate for that reason. Could I? Probably through a workflow, because I've been able to get workflows to do things that I shouldn't do. But really kind of think about the difference between them. A task is not an appointment. So just kind of think about, should it even be on the calendar? Okay. If you're
All
setting
right.
aside time, that's different, but okay.
This next one is one that I was curious about too. So if your task hasn't been completed in My Day, will it stay in My Tasks with a red due date?
If it's overdue, yes. But what if it wasn't overdue? Then it won't be red, because I could add it to my day even though it's not due till next week.
Yep.
So it won't show up red till the due date, till it's overdue, I should say, unless you do a workflow.
All right. Can you access Planner from Outlook?
Not, well, technically, yes. I shouldn't say that because in Outlook, so let me go back to Outlook. Here in Outlook on the left-hand side, you can actually go to more apps. From this more apps, you can see that you have access to other apps. So as I'm kind of looking through these, I know that Planner probably isn't here yet because I haven't added the new version. But if I go to Add App, I might need to be an admin to do this, but I am an admin on mine. But for you to kind of think about this, I know one of my clients is using a shortcut to Planner from here. Well, mine's not opening up. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to open right at the moment. So maybe I haven't tried to add Planner here because I'm using it in Teams all the time, so I haven't added it. But I know that you can add different apps here, so I'm assuming Planner is going to be a part of that, especially with the new update. I don't know about the old app, but I use it in Teams the most, so that's where I added it to. So don't know why that's being weird on me today, but that's where you would try it. Okay.
All right. This next one was another one I was interested in. Can you do a main task and subtasks?
Yes, That was actually when we were in To Do. So I'll just jump back to do here. You can do either, you have a couple of different choices to this. And I'm going to go into this loop components. Loop components, we can add steps. So that is a kind of like a subtask to that task. So that's one option. Or I can create lists. These are all individual tasks that need their own physical detail, as opposed to a step. I don't get any detail to a step. If I need detail to each of the steps, make a list, because all these lists can then be added to a group. So every list can be a part of a group where one group can have multiple lists. If I'm in Planner, so let me jump back to Planner here. Oops, sorry, lost my mouse. If I'm in Planner, I can do that same thing. So if I'm in Planner and I open up a tab, if I open up a task by going into my information, here's where we can add in the checklist. So once again, the checklist items don't have details to themselves. So if I wanted this competitive analysis to be a bucket and then have multiple tasks that can have their own details, I would organize it that way instead. So competitive analysis could actually become a bucket. I can add it as a bucket to the plan and then put individual tasks there so they can all have their own detail. So it's all about, do they need a bunch of detail? They should be their own task. Okay, hope that helped. Short answer.
All right, a couple more. I have some tasks in To Do organized in lists, and I do not see these showing up in Planner.
So are you in the Teams updated version of the new planner? Because if you're not, you won't see them.
Yeah,
so in the desktop version or the old version of Teams, you won't see the updated version of Planner. So that's the only one that can show you those private tasks.
All right, and then I think this one is the last question. What it says is my screen doesn't have the My Day and My Tasks on the left-hand side. And it also says, how do you create a group?
So first off, are they in Planner or To Do?
Doesn't specify here.
Okay, and one of the things to think about when you're in Outlook, it's a little confusing because they still show the task icon, which is going away. So if I click on the old task, you're not going to see that, My Day and different things. And it's even telling you at the top, try the new To Do app. It's kind of telling you this is going to go away here. So if I'm in To Do, you should be seeing this because they're there by default. I don't even think you can hide them. They're going to be there. Okay, so make sure you're in the To Do app and not the tasks if you're going through Outlook. Okay.
All right. I think we are at the end of our questions. Great questions, guys. That was fantastic.
Yes, I love having questions like that.
Yeah. All right. Just a real quick wrap up here, guys. So we are going to have a couple more webinars coming up that are on the schedule. The next one is at the end of August. It's part of that digital transformation series that I spoke about a little bit. This is one on using our Quest application. So if you're not familiar with Quest, Quest is a piece of software that Sourcepass has developed. And the idea behind it is that it's giving all of our users kind of that single pane of glass look at everything happening in IT. So it's tickets, it's financial information, it's order status, all kinds of things like that you can get in one spot. So if any of that applies to you and you want to learn more about automation with Quest, it's a super helpful tool if those are your functions. And then in September, Microsoft Copilot again, writing the best prompts. And this is what it's all about, right, Jolynn? I mean, you gotta write the prompts to get the best output out of it. So
you do.
Yeah, we're going to get some coaching on that. So like I say, go to sourcepass.com, sign up for those, invite your friends. And I think we have one more little wrap up slide. Right. Okay. So if any of this here that we talked about today or anything at all that you feel like you wanted a little bit of help with, just reach out to us. You can reach out to your client success manager, your CSM, if you know who that is. If you don't, no worries at all. You can certainly reach us at our events email address here, events@sourcepass.com. We'll route it to the right person, and we'll reach out to you and see what we can do to help you. So thanks everybody. It was a great session, Jolynn. Again, thanks
Thanks.
to you, and we'll see everybody here next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.